It is 12:08 a.m., January 2nd, 2026. Welcome to episode 1. It's just me. It's just me tonight. I wanted to record this with someone. I've been trying to make the time to get co-hosts. My mom wants to be on, so we're going to have my mom on at some point, which I think is pretty cool. At first I was like, no, I don't want to do that, Mom. But then I was like, honestly, I think that that's important. I got a frog in my throat. I think it's gone now. But anyways, I really don't know how to do a solo episode, but I was like, I got to start this at some point. So I'm going to do a solo episode. I've got my lamp on in my room. I've got my laptop on. I've got this little mixer thing that I finally... So basically, I've been wanting to do a podcast for years. I'm making the mic noise, but I've been wanting to do this for years. I have wanted to just make a easygoing, conversational podcast that hopefully is funny or at minimum interesting. And it's been a juggling act. So I bought this freaking mixer thing. I've got a box for it here because I just borrowed a little tool from it. I borrowed the little mic pop cover, but it's the Mayono Caster Light, and it's this little mixer thing, but it's not intuitive. It is so weird, and I could barely get it to freaking work with my computer. It's I don't even know, man. It's got all these fancy knobs and things. I wish I could give a visual. I realize this isn't the most compelling narrative here, but basically it's this little fancy toy thing. It's got these two dials on it. It's got all these laugh track features on it and stuff, but basically I could never get it to work. And so I shelved the idea for years. It's also it's hard to convince people to do a podcast with you naturally. I have tried to make time for it. I've wanted to get people to do it. I also just haven't done it myself, though. I recorded one episode 2 years ago in the fall, but it was just me talking about the weather. So it was just me sitting down talking about fall, and I was like, man, the seasons are really interesting. Maybe I could throw a clip in here somewhere, but it's you want it to be this thing that feels easy because you're just talking at the end of the day, but if you want to have a good podcast, for one, it's probably not going to be that good for the first 5-10 episodes. So just come back then after I've talked long enough and all that. But in all seriousness, it's still hard. If a lot of podcasts that people listen to work because they're supplemental to other stuff that people are already doing. You've got athletes that do them. You've got... And some of the athlete ones are not good either. I saw because you have some athletes that do good podcasts, or I don't listen to many of them, but that are successful. I know the Kelsey brothers have theirs that goes good. Paul George, I've listened to that one, and those guys Paul George can be equal parts personable and just insightful and reflective, but also he'll just say things that are just dumb sometimes. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but. They're entertaining. They have good chemistry as a group at minimum. It feels like you're in the room for the conversation. But also you have athletes that just do them, and you have celebrities that just do them, and it's clearly it's overproduced and it's in this fancy studio and all of that. I also realized that I don't actually listen to that many podcasts right now, so I'm talking out of my butt. So that kind of brings me to my next thing. As a podcaster, I'm going to do my best to talk about things that I'm not informed on, as much as possible, because I think that in the current podcasting ecosystem, that's just what you gotta hear. Let me look up what's something I can talk about that I'm not informed on. I'm gonna look up we'll just go to the CNN front page. That's what we'll do. So I'm looking that up right now. About 40 people dead in fire at Swiss ski resort bar. Yeah, I'm not touching I don't think cheat. No, that's not funny. I was giggling there because I was like, that would be one to do the bit on. Let's see. Where to travel to in 22. Oh, let's look at this. We're just gonna be free flowing, man. Let's see. What are the best places to travel in 2026? Adelaide, Australia. Oh, I think I'm going there this summer. Ooh, for my first trip for school. Wow, well that's good to hear. Algeria. Wow. Okay. Anyway, wow, that's some good stuff. Good stuff to know, though. I gotta find something I can talk about that I'm not informed on, though. Oh, there we go. 4 astronauts will soon head back to the moon. Oh my gosh, dude, they want to give me all the CNN plans and stuff. Oh, it's for subscribers only. Let's look at the headline, though. I can still see the headline. 4 astronauts will soon head back to the moon on a flight path never attempted before. Yeah, so I've been saying this flight path that they're about to take, I think that this is the one to take, because when they did the moon landing, they just went like straight there. Like they just went straight from the atmosphere to the moon. Like at least I think so. That just makes the most sense to me. But a new flight path, you could be going, like, there's so many different flight paths you could take. I know that, like, you can go to different planets and then go to the moon. You can go around the Earth many times really fast and then go to the moon. So that's really exciting. I think that if I were on that mission, though, like if I, just voicing my concerns, I'd be worried about, like, if these people have been to space before. I think it says head back, but, like, you just never know. So, yeah, basically that. Like, that's the most important thing you can think of. Where were we before this, though? But no, I had that little podcast thing, though. I think that's where I was. This is the tricky thing about solo podcasts, but I had that little one. And one day we, like, tried to record an episode, and it was, like, me, my brother, and some friends. And it took us like an hour just to get it to work. And like looking back, I think it's just the software wasn't lined up with my computer. I have a Mac, which like for stuff like this is usually fine, but a lot of the time it's finicky because I also have the one that has like the 2 USB-C ports and still like a good workhorse laptop. I am grateful that my family got this for me for my high school graduation present. But it's just hard to like hook up. And podcasting it's not easy. Nothing is easy. Like I think people get the impression. Part of why it's so like accessible and why so many celebrities and like athletes have them is because podcasting is. I think that it's easy to view it as like accessible because it kind of is. Like you just need equipment, not like Fisher Price looking soundboards. But sorry, this thing's like right next to me, and I feel bad like talking crap on an object that's near me, but. It's easy in the sense that if you can talk, you can just do it. But if you want it to be like entertaining and worthwhile, you have to give time to it. You have to give it some semblance of structure and all that. Like I know that a lot of the comedy podcasts that I enjoyed listening to, they have like good cold opens. I love a cold open. Oh, I love a cold open. But there's that. You have maybe segments. You maybe have like rituals or traditions that you do. It takes time to build chemistry. Even if it's someone that like it takes time to build chemistry with like a co-host because you have to figure out how you can bring your conversations to a podcast format, how you can just like sit down and get comfortable because anytime you're recorded doing anything, it becomes a little more artificial. We had a project when I was in high school. It was for film class, and the assignment was basically how natural do you feel doing things when you're recorded. So he was like just film like 8 shots of you doing something normal around the house and just try to act like the camera's not there, but you still know the camera's not there, so like you can only get so far away from that. And what I did is I just like filmed myself folding laundry, which is if I had a nickel for every time I'd like film myself folding laundry for a project, I would nickel cliche, but the point is like I just thought I've now filmed myself folding laundry twice for a project because for another video that I have on my YouTube channel, I like was doing like a funny morning routine or like it was like a daily routine, and I tried to like film myself folding laundry sped up and like make it like exciting. Anyways, so the idea was we like recorded ourselves folding laundry, and you can only make it so natural. And like with podcasting, even if it's with someone you know and like you're getting and doing it, like you have to like generate conversation continuously. And like there was another time, oh my gosh, dude, I'm just like telling random anecdotes of me like trying to podcast, but it was like back in like COVID, and we recorded it over Discord, and we actually had fun with it. We had a whole riff that we did about like Tom Brady burying his Super Bowl rings in his yard and like digging them up for fun. It's a great piece of lost media. I don't know if it's on my brother's computer somewhere, but we did that. And you have to like keep the ball rolling because when you're talking to someone normally, like if you're in a really flowing conversation. Obviously, there's not really like breaks in that, but sometimes when you're hanging out, there's naturally just like stoppages and like conversation. Like it's not paced the way a podcast. I actually don't know. Maybe it is paced the way the podcast. But anyways, the point is you have to generate conversation. You have to develop a report that is interesting to listen to, and that takes practice. That doesn't like just happen out the gate. Like I know that there was a podcast I used to listen to a lot, and they basically said that sometimes they would retread conversations they'd already had for the pod, and it was like it was just something they did. And like obviously as a listener, you feel. Sorry, I realize that I'm pulling the microphone like like back and forth to my mouth, so this is going to be interesting to listen back to, trial and error. But they talked about how they would just like repeat conversations that they'd already had throughout the week for it. And as like an audience member, you obviously feel like maybe a little betrayed that it's not as authentic as you thought, but at the same time it just makes sense. You have to figure out a way to generate just audio for a podcast, and that sometimes is going to mean that like it is something you've already talked about, or you just have to figure out ways to generate it. So we're 11 minutes in, and having threaded through all that, my point is I'm just doing this myself because I got to get started, and we're going to see how it goes. So is this a dead end? Oh my gosh, what do I talk about now? Oh, I've talked so much about this, but I hope to having a coast would be great. I always wanted a coast. Dude, I'm like I want you all to imagine me like I'm kicking my feet up on the bed as I talk about this, but like I want to like in an ideal world, I don't know what this is going to be, but in an ideal world, I'd like to have someone that I can like develop a rapport with and just deliver entertaining stuff into this conversations, into deliver interesting stuff into this podcast, make fun to listen to. Maybe it'll be like a revolving door. My goal is 30 episodes this year. I want to commit to it that much. If that doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I think that, if you start anything, you have to give yourself like a chance for it to be good. That's just, you learn that when you're a little kid, even if you don't realize it. Like, it's just practice. You pick up a ball, you got to practice. You read a book, you got to give it a chance sometimes. And that goes for creative endeavors too. I mean, consistency is just the thing that matters most. Like if you want to get good at anything, you can have raw talent, you can have skills, you can have the energy for it, but if you don't just like do it consistently, you're not going to get that far, and you're not going to give yourself a chance for it to be good. So yeah. Anyways, I am still wired up, even though it's like midnight. I'm like half sleepy, half awake. I've been in that like between New Year's, Christmas, understimulated and tired at the same time, and it's very strange. I consider myself like someone who really knows how to navigate the like emotional regulation and expectations around the holidays, but this year I like got home from college and I got the stomach bug, and I was just so drained for like a week. It just took the life out of me, and I was like, you got to make the most. Like people complain about Christmas not feeling the same or this or that. It's like you create the feeling, dude. Like you're like when you're a child, obviously that magic is pretty innate. Especially if you're lucky to just like be in a situation like I was, like with parents who made the holiday special. But as you get older, you got to do that yourself, and especially like after the holidays, you got to like plan stuff. Otherwise, you're just gonna rot for that week. And rotting can be resting, but sometimes it's just rotting. And I don't think I rotted per se, but I didn't get up to much. I just haven't had the energy to like hit people up the way I want, and maybe I'm wrong for that. Maybe I still should, but it's amazing though how that feeling just like snaps away at New Year's. It is truly insane because like that's happened, throughout life. But even this year, like even when like New Year's Eve, like the night of it kind of creeps in, you kind of feel yourself like, you get a little more loose, and it's like, oh, it's happening. The Christmas lights, they kind of shine a little brighter to decorate the holiday, and it's like, oh, it's gonna be a new year. And that change just like on New Year's Day, it's like it's there. And but tonight, I am like still kind of wound up because I was like, I got to do this podcast today. I'm saying like a lot. Today I was doing chores. I cleaned my sheets because I woke up and I was like, oh, it's been 2 weeks and like my sleep's been weird lately. And sometimes that's like a sign that you just got to change them. I know they say to change them like every week now, but I don't think that's fully realistic. Sometimes you have to compromise with like the technical medical recommendations. That's not something that I should say. See, this is what I'm worried about. This is what you got to be careful about, man. Because if you say the wrong thing, suddenly you're that podcaster. I don't want to be that podcaster. I want to be like, oh my gosh, that burp. No, but if people don't listen to me, I want it to be because like I'm saying things that are just too much like me, and that's too much. I don't want to say wrong things, but no, it's like changing your sheets every week isn't realistic. But I woke up at like 11 because I had a heartbreaking loss on Fortnite last night. Man, Fortnite has been. I've been playing so much of it. I didn't think I wanted like my plan going into this winter break is like either I just want to have days or nights where I just like play Fortnite too much and just enrich myself in it. And it wasn't until I like, for one, I've had really bad lag on the game. That's been brutal. Like my corner of the house where I'm lucky to live still, and my parents still take me in for breaks, but my corner of the house is like the worst internet in the house. It's like far from the router. I guess it's literally because it is the corner of the house. Like my Xbox and my Switch are literally sitting in a dead end of my house. But also just having so many people home lately, like the lag has been awful. But it wasn't until like last week that I got a win, and like that re-energized me. I was like, this is what I wanted to do over break. But last night I had a heartbreaking third place finish. I was playing with my cousin, and 4 years ago, the two of us had played on New Year's too, and this was like a weirdly emotional Fortnite game. It was New Year's 21 to 22, and we were playing, and like 2021 was a crazy year for me. Like a lot too much happened. A lot of it was like stuff that I didn't really feel good about. I had some rough times that year, but I just remember we were playing, and we were trying to get a win. We're like, we got to get a New Year's win. We didn't end up getting a win that night, but we got to see the ball drop on Fortnite, and I just like, after everything that happened that year, just like getting to spend time with my cousin online and just like be with him and see that ball drop, it was like I just had a moment where I like got to accept everything that had happened, and that it was a new year. And so last night we were playing because I hit him up, and we'd been playing it like lately. This wasn't necessarily to make it an anniversary, but I was like, dude, like we got to get on. Like this is what we did 4 years ago. And so we were grinding for a win all night. Like we were, not that you need it. Obviously, like a Fortnite match does not spell your fate for the year. I can attest to this because we didn't get a win that night, but I ended up having a cool 2022. But we came so close to a win. Like it was an intense game. We landed. We weren't quite making it happen. We weren't feeling the place, so we backed out. We recuperated. We had a bunch of crazy battles, and then down the end, we were doing everything right. We were navigating. We were rotating. We were rotating as in like moving around the map for people that don't Fortnite like that. But we were moving through all this cover. It was us and another duo and one solo, and we were doing everything right. We got up to that duo. My cousin got a knock on him on one of them, and then it was just one guy. And so I just wanted to wait for the storm to flush this guy out. And I told my cousin earlier, I don't have mobility to get up there. Like we had the grappler hooks to, get up the hill. And so he was like, dude, I'm going up to kill him. I was like, no, I can't. I wasn't even expressing it right. I was very nervous. My hands were shaking. Like I consider myself someone who is very headstrong in the clutch in video games. But last night I was shaky, and so he went up to get him, and the guy came down, and a lot of this is my fault too, because I just biffed the fight when this 11 from Stranger Things skin came skidding down the hill like just an arbiter of death, and so I lost that, and then they killed him too. But it was just so sad because it was such a good game. But anyways, tonight we were playing too. I was on to, and the lag was bad tonight because I'd had my whole day. I had podcasts on the agenda. Let me grab my to-do. I love my to-do list. If you don't use to-do lists, you should use to-do lists because I find that they work really well for me. Because I had sheets. I had cleaning my room. I did that. I got a good run in. Oh, I got a great run in. I still fell though. I was running today, and I was going through the park, and so I had a little bit of karma because I was looking for my brother because he texted me, or he said to me first, like, do you want to go for a run? And I was like, yeah. And then he I was like waiting for him to like actually like knock on my door again to like summon me, but he didn't. He went out, which is fair because he had to go work out. He's a big triathlete. He did an Ironman. You know, he keeps up with his routine. But so he went out, and I texted him like, "Did you leave?" And he was like, "Yeah. But if you want, you can track me down and bring me some Oreos." It's so that I can stay out longer because he needs his like sugar for energy. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So I, got a Ziploc, tossed like 4 Oreos in that bad boy, threw them in my running shorts, and I don't bring my phones on runs, which I instantly realized like, oh shoot, am I gonna be able to like find him? And I was like, I know the approximate area he's in. I'll just try to bump into him. So I went out on the trails, and I, in our beautiful desert scape, I'm like running around. It's huge tourist season here in the valley, so I'm like navigating through all that. I took like a route I don't usually get to get where he was, because we're in the park. Normally he's on the other side, past like the rockier parts, and oh man, I'm being so vague about location. I'm like, how I am people's identities. I'm like, how much do I want to give away? I feel so secretive. This is like not conducive to good podcasting, because I'm not being vulnerable and showing that. But this is also the trial run. This is episode 1, so I get to be ambiguous. I get to figure it out because I'm figuring it out. That's why. It's not because I'm withholding. It's because I'm figuring it out. So sit down, relax, be patient. Anyway, so I'm like running. I'm running. I have so much goop in my throat. I'm running just through these trails that I don't usually go on. I found like a play set, and they had like a tortoise thing there. They had like a big tortoise statue. It's something I've never seen before, so that was really cool. But so I'm like running past that, and I'm realizing these paths I'm on are not going to take me where I need to go to get to him. So I'm like, shoot, I got to run off trail. So you're not really supposed to do that because there's a bunch of like protected vegetation and stuff. I like was being careful still. I wasn't stepping on anything. I was making the right pass, and it's not like too delicate. It's just like they don't want you to go off trail, but I still shouldn't have done. And I knew this too. I was like, this is bad karma. I'm doing this in front of everyone. They're like, who's this crazy shirtless guy with cookies in his pocket, running off trail? And so as like I'm right about to get over the path to the next like section of trails where I want to go, I trip. It was such a simple comical trip. It was literally like my left foot snagged on a rock, and I came straight down, and I was fine. I got up like instantly because, one, I have all these people looking at me, so I'm like, shoot, I gotta get out of here. It's the beautiful adrenaline of getting hurt in a crowd. But I took a chunk out of my ankle. Like I had kind of a bloody left ankle, and also like my hands ate it a little bit. It was funny too because I didn't realize that like my hands got scratched a little bit until I looked, and I was like, oh, that again, like the funny adrenaline injury, like you don't even feel some stuff until you like physically see it. So I ran. I like took a bit to walk because I was like, oh shoot, that actually did kind of hurt. Like I'm gonna feel it tomorrow too. Like my shoulder, like I felt like something move in there that should not have when I fell. But I walked around a bit, kept running away from my brother. I accepted like a mile or two in, like he's probably going back home. Like I'm not gonna find him. So I just went around my usual route and hoped to see him. But it was a good run. It was a good run. I was going a decent pace, like 8 minutes ish. It's hard when like you're on those hills because they innately just kind of like slow you down. So like I wasn't pushing like my baseline for running when I'm like just working out is like 7:30. When I'm like trying to go faster, that is for like a good tempo. But it was like 8 minutes. But I cut down for like the last 3 miles. It was good. Running term, cutting down. Like you just get progressively faster mile by mile. But then I got home, did a little sprint workout, and oh man, it was so weird. I keep having this thing after I'm running where like it's been like twice. You guys can hear my creaky chair, huh? But where like I get home and like it feels like I'm just like zapped. Like last week I had it where what happened is I was running and I got back home and it felt like I was gonna like pass out every time I stood up. It was not good. I don't know if it's like that I still had like food in my belly or something was up, but anyways. So I was dealing with that, but then I had a good I showered, I got cleaned up, and then I had a good meal that kind of replenished me. But then I was on Fortnite tonight, and the lag was bad. So that's what I was getting to. So the lag was really bad tonight. Like, oh my gosh, I just burped and like All the spicy food I ate earlier came back. The back of my throat is burning. Okay, I'm good. Oh my, did you hear that? That was crazy. But what did I do? So we were lagging so bad. We were playing the reload mode. So it's like a faster pace. If you don't play Fortnite, normal Fortnite is you drop in a lobby with 100 people ish. Normally it's like 97, 98, 99, and most of them are bots, but it's 100 people. It's slow pace. Like you're on this big map. There's like sporadic bits of action, but for the most part you're just going through it. But we were playing the fast pace mode reload, which is 40 people, and you have like 3 lives. Normally Fortnite is permadeath, like in unless you're playing like team modes where you can get revived or rebooted. But this is like multiple lives, 40 people. So we were like playing decent. I just felt weird. I think I was still coming off that weird like running feeling. So I wasn't like fully coordinated. That wasn't all there. I just wasn't flowing, and I was lagging bad. Like I was like going all over the place. And the longer we played, this is like so funny because normally the arc when you're gaming, when something like this happens, is you go, and the lag was getting worse overnight. Like the last 2 games, it was awful. And normally the arc that would happen then is you get frustrated and it's like, okay, it's not our night, where we call it. So I had one last game where it was like barely playable. And sometimes what happens when I'm lagging really bad is I get this glitch where, because normally when you're in Fortnite, your character's running around doing all the things that people do, and like all the things people do, like throwing disco balls and that make people dance. You get like wingsuits. I think we all have a wingsuit that we can put on that just like sends us flying. Also all the guns, we all have those. But we were lagging so bad. Like my character was spazzing out. Like, so there's this glitch I get where I lag really bad, where my character's legs are like stuck in place. I'm just kind of like this floating avatar, like gliding across the ground. But this game, it was so bad that like I was stuck in a crouch position. Because normally what happens when that happens is I can't crouch, which is really advantageous in the game because you can duck around corners. You can move silently like that, but I couldn't crouch. So, but this game, I was glitching so hard that I was like locked in place, crouching, like lagging all the time. So I'm like rubber banding back and forth. It's like I'm trying to move anywhere. But midway through the game, we got in a fight, and my friend died, my duo, and so I was like, you know what? I cannot like stick this fight out. I'm just gonna go. So I used the shockwave grenades. The shockwave grenades are these big purple orbs. They're like these purple, like old school steel balls filled with like purple crystal. And so you throw them on the ground and they send you flying into the air with like this anti-gravity effect. And so I used the shock. I was just shockwaving out. It's like a quick getaway item, and they like explode everything around you so you can get out of the building. Not like damage wise, but they just like, it's like a concussion shockwave that just like sends everything flying back. And so I was just like, screw it. I just did that. So I threw a bunker down, which are these items where like you throw it and this big bunker structure appears. So I threw those down and I just waited it out. I was like, dude, I'm lagging real bad. Just get out. Do what you got to do. I'm going to do what I can. So I was just waiting there in my bunker, lagging bad, just sitting still, trying to just survive at this point. And what was funny too is by now, like, we'd been playing a while and the lag was so bad. Like I said, like I'm into the other thing is like the camera angle on my character was like just waist up. So I'm like crouched on the ground as Rey from Star Wars with the gray outfit from The Last Jedi, because that's the one. And I'm like, I'm like giggling like a maniac because I cannot believe that I escaped that fight. Because this happened multiple times too. Because then they like tracked me, they shot at me. I like escaped again. Because my friend respawns, we went back to like loot, but then we escaped again. He died, I escaped again, and I threw the bunker down. And I was at 1 health, so I should not have survived. I had like no right to survive that. I'm lagging bad. I was expecting to get shot out of the air, but I'm just like in that bunker laughing hysterically because I cannot believe like how shambles the game has become. Like just trying to survive. I don't even know what my friend was doing that whole time, but we eventually just like escaped the general area and like regrouped. I was lagging bad, but then we got a good game going. Like my character was still stuck in that glitch, but the lag had kind of dissipated, and so we just did things right. We were positioned well. We went into a new area, got some kills, and then it came down to like us and a solo and a duo, so 5 people left counting us, and we took out the solo, so it was us and another team. We took out one on the other team, and then I hit the game-winning kill we were fighting Catwoman. We were going uphill, and we shot at Catwoman, and when she was down, she came up to just like have a final stand, and I shotgunned her. And it's maybe my proudest win gaming ever, because like you never want to give up, right? I'm not someone who ever quits in a game. I know that some people, when they're mad, they rage quit, they throw stuff. When I was little, I maybe did that, but like a big philosophy of mine is like, even if you don't stand a chance, you just got like, and I wasn't even thinking of that mid game. I was just like trying to survive, because like I said, these are just instincts I like having right in me. You gotta try to win. You gotta make something happen. And I didn't even like realize that was like the attitude we had until we got the win. And I was like, wow, like it was just hilarious, because like the game was not like functional for me midway through. Like it was so discombobulated. Like Rey from Star Wars was like waist up angle. Like I like basically my head just zipping around. I'm like trying to go up a roof. I like come down. I go, blah, blah, blah. It's this whole thing. I'm like shockwaving, throwing bunkers up. Rey from Star Wars hunkered down in a bunker with 1 HP, and somehow we just did the right things, regrouped, and we got in a position to win that. We deserved the win. Like it was insane. I cannot believe we won that. It's like one of my proudest gaming moments I think ever, which is saying something, because I'm a prideful person, and I have a lot of gaming moments cataloged. That's why, not because it's this crazy thing. But so so that's part of why I'm like all giddy tonight, because like I'm still coming off that. I'm like all wound up. Now I'm worn out. I'm like talking. I'm tiring myself out. But that was it was cool. Like I cannot believe we won something that like clusterfucked, basically. Like it's awesome, and I loved it. I loved every moment of it, even when even when I was giggling in a bunker because I couldn't believe that I was making it. So yeah, so that's something that I get to talk about on this podcast is my Fortnite escapades. So that's pretty cool. I promise that no, actually that will be all it is. Yeah, this podcast is going to be me talking about things I'm not informed about in Fortnite, because that's how you appeal. That's how you appeal to the male audience these days, man. That's what they love, you know? So, no, this podcast is for everyone, by the way, not just the male audience. That was just a comment on, like, manosphere things. Let's look at CNN again. There's got to be something else I can talk about that I'm not informed about. Oh, man. There's a lot of bad stuff happened in the world, man. Shout out to everyone in Ukraine holding it down against that illegal invasion by Russia. Our experts narrowed down the fitness gear you need to crush your New Year's resolutions. Okay, I can talk about this. So for your fitness gear that you won't need, you know those balance bands from like 2008 that like were supposed to have nanobots in them that like helped you like be a super athlete, and like, you know, Kobe was wearing them and all the baseball players were wearing them. You're going to need one of those for this new year, because you're going to need help balancing, because I know you. Yeah, you. Remember when you fell today? Remember when you fell today on the trail with Oreos in your pocket while you were trying to find your brother? Yeah, you could have used a balance bracelet. You could have used the nanotech balance bracelet from like 2009 that everyone was wearing, that the kid with the neon outfit in your class was wearing. So you're going to want one of those. You're also going to want you're going to want a spray tan, but don't get it without, this is a combo. You need the spray tan and you need the Chinese like leg extension surgery, because when you have both of them together, the tanning activates a healing factor in the legs that helps you get the most height out of them. Let's talk about one more. So another fitness gear that you're going to need to crush your New Year's resolutions is a notebook, because your mind is the most fit thing in your body, and you need to write and do arithmetic in a notebook. So that's that. New Year's resolutions. I've come to have a balanced take on New Year's resolutions because I think there is for one, the turning of the new year to like set up goals. It is kind of arbitrary. Like I am one of the I don't want to say cynical, but I'm one of the people that is like, yeah, like don't wait till the new year to like start being a good person. But I do think it is fair to say it's like a reflective time. It's a good time to like focus on like, you know, where you're at and what you want to do. By the way, this podcast coming out on January 1st is not like a resolution. This is not like a resolution coded thing that I'm doing that is going to like fade in 5 minutes. I'm doing this because I've always wanted to do it and I want to have fun with it. But I've been trying to do it like the past 2 weeks. This just ended up being the day. And, or January 2nd now. I think I actually recorded this whole thing on January 2nd because it was 12:08. Yeah. So anyways, but it is the New Year's. It's fair to say that's a time to like be reflective and, you know, maybe think about goals and like basically it's okay if it's fun, you know, it's okay if it's fun and reflective, but like don't. Well, it's not even that like you can't have New Year's resolutions, but a lot of people like don't do them right because you have to like build up. You know, if you want to like get in the gym, you got to start small and just see if you can carve out like 2 or 3 days. Then maybe you build up. If you want to like start reading, it's, you know, just find ways to integrate it into your schedule. Basically like build up. Some people like go all in, but also like don't wait till the new year. Like this November and December, and I was thinking of like New Year's goals. I was like, oh, I can just like start doing these now, at least in like a small scale, like trying them out. One of the goals I have is like, because I like to think I have a good track record with my resolutions. Like in the past few years have, I still like think of them. I don't want to say that like I do, like I go all in about them, but like because for the reasons I just said before, you know, it's an arbitrary deadline and you shouldn't wait. But in 2022 I was like, dang, I want to be better informed. This year I'm trying to be less informed so that I can talk about things that I'm not informed on and like podcast about them. So I'm trying to like consume the news less. You know, I'm just gonna get on like secondhand news subreddits, like r/schizophrenia online. But oh my gosh, I'm tired. I gotta wrap this up soon. But I did good at that. I tried to, you know, just keep an ear out. Like I can't say that I was like a news junkie, but I tried to be more cognizant of just what was going on. 2023, I don't think I had like a crazy one that year. I think that it was like I wanted to be a better manager, and I think that I did the right things to be better. 2024, I like wanted to change my posting habits because like I had a habit of just like spam posting on Instagram. And like I would fall into lapses where I would like post for like attention or validation. And I was like, I want to get away from this. I want to like just post because I'm doing like, I want to only post if it's like fun. You know what I mean? I want to post with intent. And I held myself to that well. Did I have one last year? Last year was like self-respect. I was focusing on self-respect because like that's just something I wanted to improve on. Because I kept getting like naked at parties and like covering myself in like frosting and asking, I was like, guys, do you hate me? Do you hate me? And because of that, I was like, okay, I need to take like at least one step back and, you know, show some self-respect. But this year I was like, I want to focus on being kinder. Not that like I think I'm like an innately like mean or evil person, but I was like, I want to be better at like reaching out to people to like hang out. I want to be better at just like saying hi to people when like I walk around, because that's one of the things about like being at a college, especially a small one, is you like see people all the time and it's like, do I say hi or not? And it's like I want to cut that out and just like say hi. And if I embarrass myself on accident a little bit, it's like, you know, it's worth it. I also just want to like show up for people, you know, because I think that especially now where like we're I don't want to be like, this is not like a generational critique, because it's really everybody that is in like a world that's like more online and like maybe a little more like isolated. As a result, people, I think it's easier to shelve like showing up for people for little things out of like convenience or just like if you don't have the energy. But like I found that even if like it's someone has like a recital or a play, or it's like someone like has a game. Obviously, a lot of these are college contexts, but like in just real life, if like you have friends like doing stuff going on, if they're like if it's a hobby that they have a big event for and they're asking you to show up or just like to spend time with them, I've found that like even if you don't fully have the energy or even if it's not 100% convenient, it's fulfilling to show up for that. And it just matters, not even aside from like personal fulfillment, but just to like create community for yourself, like doing stuff like that matters. And that's something that I want to get better at because I feel like I don't like fully have the instincts for it. Again, not that like I think I'm like completely in the wrong, but as far as my habits right now, but I just want to get better at that. I want to get better at like creating community around myself and like being a little more kind. So, because kindness is action too. Kindness isn't just like mannerisms. It's like it's showing up. We had a thing because I was a part of like the orientation squad for school this year, and they had a thing that like they polled, and I don't know how like reliable this is, but it was like they polled different people about if they would bring soup to a friend when they're sick, and it was like younger people I think were less likely to do that, which is so sad. You know, I want to live in a world where everyone would bring their friends soup when they're sick, especially me, because I get sick a lot. That's a whole other story. But yeah, that's a good note to end on, I think. Bring your friends soup when they're sick, and respect yourself at parties. So, 41 minutes. Wow. I've talked for 41 minutes at midnight in my house. I think that people are probably going to be mad at me tomorrow. But that's the price of podcasting greatness, okay? I can't talk about things that I'm not informed on if I don't do this, even at inconvenient hours. So, think about that. But in all seriousness, thanks for if you made it to the end. Thank you for indulging this. I am hoping to be consistent. I'm hoping to make something cool. So thank you. Bye-bye.